Coming up this morning, 3 weeks to file, with those hoping to run for Alden and Aberdeen need to do before the special election. And failure to repair the ballot initiative process, why for the second year in a row you won't be able to put issues up for a statewide vote. Severe storms this morning in north and central Texas. This is a system that could bring us significant severe weather to parts of the state later on today and tonight. An updated forecast coming up on Sunrise.
Telling your story. WCBI Sunrise starts now.
Good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us here on Sunrise on this finally Friday. I'm Eric Crossway. The calm start to the day out there, but the end of the day could be a different story. Let's start the show off with a check on the forecast and Chief Meteorologist Isaac Williams. Isaac, I'm
storms this morning in north and central Texas. This is the system that could bring us.
A House panel delivered a rare bipartisan rebuke yesterday, taking on TikTok CEO Shou-Zi Chew.
We do not trust TikTok will ever embrace American values.
The platform also threatens the health, privacy, and security of the American people.
Chew, on the defensive, pushed back against concerns that TikTok's Chinese parent company, ByteDance, could be forced to share user data with China's government.
Our commitment is initiated into the United States to export on American soil.
Has ByteDance spied on Americans at the direction of the Chinese Communist Party?
No,
Has ByteDance spied on Americans?
I don't think that spying is the right way to describe it.
A new CBS News poll shows a majority of Americans over 30 are in favor of a TikTok ban.
There are more than 150 million Americans who love our platform.
Like Holocaust survivor Tova Friedman, who uses the platform to educate millions of viewers.
It was a fabulous media for the Holocaust. The young people.
But there's also a dark side. The Nazca family's 16-year-old son committed suicide after they said he was served up disturbing videos on TikTok.
I would just like to see mainly stopping of promoting these types of videos.
The White House and more than half of U.S. states have already banned the app on government devices. And Congress is considering 3 bills that would either further restrict or outright ban TikTok in the U.S.
After yesterday's hearing, TikTok released a statement accusing House committee members of political grandstanding and warning the ban could violate the First Amendment and hurt the livelihoods of millions of users. Its parent company, ByteDance, is under investigation by the Department of Justice for alleged spying. Developing in Aberdeen politics, candidates for Alderman in Ward 5 have 3 weeks to file. Alderman John Allen resigned last month for health reasons. Ward 3 special election to fill her seat. In order to run, candidates must have lived in Ward 5 for at least 2 years. They also must collect 50 signatures from voters in the ward to qualify. The deadline to run is April 12th. The election is May 2nd. The town of Bruce has a new mayor. Jimmy Hubbard is the winner of the special election. He replaces Rudy Pope, who died this year. He'll finish the rest of Pope's term, which ends in 2025. Hubbard has spent 6.5 years on the board. The town will hold another special election to fill his vacant alderman seat. A measure to give back the ability to voters to add an issue on the ballot died in the Mississippi Senate. Cordy Ann Jackson explains how it all played out.
When the Supreme Court threw this out a couple of years ago, they weren't saying no more ballot initiative. They were saying to the legislature, you must repair the ballot initiative process because there is a constitutional requirement for it to exist.
But for the second year in a row, it won't.
The support for the ballot initiative as it was set back was not there. It's kind of my feeling that we were just so far apart on the number of signatures.
Senator John Polk says that was a sticking point.
I am firmly convinced that we need a large number of signatures for the people's will to be known what it is.
An amendment on the House floor had put the threshold back to where it originally was. Another issue for Polk, the House removed a restriction that would keep referendums from changing Mississippi's position as a right-to-work state.
That was disturbing to me.
But House leaders were surprised because they thought they'd indicated they were willing to negotiate specifics.
Now, with it not even going to conference and just dying on the calendar, it's disappointing. We were hoping to see that move. People have demanded it, asked for it, and I think on the campaign trail this summer and fall, you're going to hear people, constituents, voters talking about it.
The ballot initiative is an important process that keeps the legislature in check. They're proving the point and proving the need for a ballot initiative process right before our very eyes.
I don't know of any other mechanism or way for it to be revived this session.
Thursday was the deadline for the bill to be kept alive. Courtney Ann Jackson, WCBI News.
Next on Sunrise, the public gives input on road conditions. The Support Columbus City leaders believe the town hall meeting will give them with future projects. Stay with us.
Every parent knows when it's time to go into protect mode.
Adding Lysol laundry sanitizer kills 99.9% of illness-causing bacteria detergents leave behind. Clean is good, sanitized is better.
Attention, anyone owing the IRS over $10,000 needs to listen to this important message. The IRS has created a special program that could potentially save you thousands of dollars by qualifying. It is the IRS Fresh Start Program. And since qualifying for the IRS Fresh Start Program is not automatic, we will connect you with a tax professional for a free consultation. Once you're accepted by the IRS, you must stop bank and wage levies. Contact Group 123 now at 800-709-9750 to find out if you may qualify for the IRS's Fresh Start Program.
Have you lost your right to vote due to a criminal conviction? 1 in 10 people in Mississippi are unvoted because of a felony conviction. In 2020, Mississippi had the second highest incarceration rate in the country, with members of the Black community making up 60% of those who can't vote. But there are organizations fighting back. One Voice and Mississippi Votes are committed to helping people regain their voting rights. Call 1-888-601-8683 to take your power back.
It's time once again for the Tupelo Flea Market. This Friday through Sunday, join us at the Tupelo Flea Market in buildings 1 and 3. Everything you've been looking for under one roof. This weekend at the Tupelo Flea Market, Coley Road in Tupelo.
Wine, cocktails, and great food from around the area. You'll be in the know. Watch Uncooked with Bobby Burgess, Thursdays at 9 p.m. on CW4, 10 p.m. on WCBI News, and Friday mornings on Sunrise.
Why burn a candle when you can switch to Airwick Essential Mist? It's the modern way to transform fragrance infused with natural essential oils into a mist. Airwick Essential Mist. Connect to nature.
An update on the arrest of a Mississippi State professor. We're learning alleged misuse of scholarship money led to an embezzlement charge. Dr. Gary Packwood, director of choral activities at MSU, was arrested March 16th. This was after an internal audit found Packwood awarded $39,000 2018 to 2022 in scholarship money to his spouse, who isn't eligible. MSU placed Packwood on administrative leave with pay, standard for this type of case. The university won't have anything more to say until the justice system is through. We continue to follow the need for road improvement projects in Columbus. The council gave the public a chance to voice their thoughts on street conditions and what needs to be done. City engineer Kevin Stafford spoke briefly, then turned things over. His team already has areas mapped out needing repairs and it's color coordinated to show roads recently paved. Stafford says he wanted to get feedback from people about sidewalks too.
A lot of people are locating living places that they can walk or bike or roller skate, whatever it may be. There's a lot of ways to travel beyond a car these days. Cost for gasoline's up. So I think the complete street ordinance, which is one the city passed back in 2010, is important.
If you missed the meeting next week, forms will be available at City Hall to express concerns about roads. The taxpayers in Fulton won't have to cover the $1 million price tag for a new city hall. Holly Martin explains where the money's coming from.
Fulton outgrew its current city hall years ago, but money was an issue when it came to remodeling or rebuilding until now.
These funds are coming from the appropriations bill from the House legislature in 2022.
The money is part of the $350 billion American Rescue Plan and has certain stipulations, such as needed improvements realized in the wake of COVID-19.
When COVID hit, we learned a lot about our building that we needed to change. And we looked at ways of changing this building, but it just wasn't really doable. One thing we needed was a drive-through window. We weren't able to add a drive-through window to this building. And then we also found out their lobby was way too small.
Mayor Emily Quinn says Fulton will use the funds to move its city hall to the old Comcast building. A drive-through window is already in place, and the interior of the building should be gutted and remodeled.
For right now, we have removed the asbestos. And in the city, we will be demoing it ourselves. So we'll be stripping it to the studs. The roof line will be different. So it's going to look like a totally different building. Because we're going to make additions in the back of the building. The back parking lot is a little crowded, so we're gonna knock down some of those barriers and rework that, so, that the flow of traffic will be safer.
Mayor Quinn says the new city hall will serve Fulton and its growth for years.
When you have any residents who come here or your business owners, when they come in to, fill out their privilege license or to set up their utilities account, it sets a good impression. You know, first impressions make a big difference. So, even if we have developers who come here who want to meet with me and the city clerk, you know, if you have a professional looking boardroom or a conference room, I think it really makes a big difference.
The work on what will eventually be the new city hall will start soon. Complete renovation of the inside, and on the outside, even the brick will come off and be replaced, all at no cost to taxpayers. Telling your story in Fulton, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
It's 4:43, watching storms in Texas. They'll be steadily working their way across the Red River Valley and ultimately into our area.
Bee farm to the bakery. Learn more about local honey. Visit our website, wcbi.com. The time now is 4:44. When we come back from break, Isaac's got to check on that forecast. Don't go anywhere.
Cows at Reed's Farm on the Isle of Wight in England got up and left for milking.
Except for Doris. Doris is actually pretending to be asleep.
And for faking sleep, Doris has gone viral. People relate. I am Doris was a typical comment.
Doris has got a fantastic personality. She is definitely more person than cow.
She's one of John Brody's favorites.
You're a mischief. Leave my coffee alone, please.
When Doris pretended to be asleep, John called her out.
Doris, come on. See your ears, come on, I can see your eyes.
How do you know she was faking?
Around 30 seconds beforehand, she had her head up and was looking straight at me. She put her head back down, thinking that she was going to get away with it, just to push her luck, be cheeky.
Now Doris has fans online. I think I found my spirit animal. Leave Doris alone. But Doris doesn't leave John alone. And why was she licking the back of your head?
Grooming. She's grooming me, which means, as far as I'm concerned, she accepts me as a member of the herd.
She grooms him, he grooms her.
This is like your face.
Ginny Mose, CNN, New York.
56 the time this morning, quiet across Mississippi and Alabama, but things are getting more active just to the west. Warm air definitely building.
Ensure the safety and availability of the country's blood supply. Schedule your appointment to donate at Vitalant.
WTVA 9 News at 10.
All of our viewing area is under a severe weather risk for tonight. Coming up in our next hour, we'll talk about who's under what and what.
You're watching WTVA, Tupelo, Columbus.
As we're heading into your Friday, we are starting off with calm conditions, but we have
This is WTVA 9 News.
Good morning, everyone. The time is now 5:01 on our Friday. do have severe weather coming our way for tonight. WTVA's Avery Hilliard is live in Webster County this morning. Chelsea, you've been tracking this since the middle of the week. What's going on right now into tonight?
Well, as we're heading into our evening time, we have that severe.
How should folks prepare?
Yeah, good morning, Danielle. I'm live just outside of East Webster High School, where they have a tornado shelter for Webster County. Now, while we are seeing fairly calm conditions for most of the day, you need to have your severe weather plan in place and to know where to plan to go if a tornado pops up. If you do not know where to go, local storm shelters there's a list of local storm shelters, for the county on our website on WTVA.com. Now, if you have a shelter somewhere in your home, please find that area. You need to be in a small windowless room and wrap up in pillows and blankets. Now, have a helmet for extra protection. In the next half hour, I will talk to you more about what you need to have in your storm safety kit. Live in Webster County, Avery Hilliard, WTVA 9 News.
Weather cleanup continues over in Nelton after strong winds hit that area earlier this month. This comes as the city prepares for this other possible round of severe weather tonight. WPVA's Ethan Foster talks to the mayor to see how they are progressing and what folks should do to prepare if we see more damaging storms tonight.
There's no reason to risk it. Go get the storm house. Don't risk it sitting on this. You can rebuild that house. You can't do that otherwise.
Nettleton Mayor Philip Balch says 3 weeks after a strong wind event, most residential area damage has been cleaned up. Damaged city-owned properties are starting to get attention as well. Ahead of potential severe weather Friday, the mayor says Nettleton residents should be cautious if there's any damage. Avoid downed power lines, don't try to cross flooded streets, and make sure you report debris to 911.
911 calls kind of keeps it in the queue, keeps it coming to these guys where the damage is.
Keeping an eye on storm damage is important in life or death situations. During the March 3rd weather event, one woman was at home when a large oak tree fell on her house from her backyard. And this is what that house on Hill Avenue looks like nearly 3 weeks after it was originally hit. Now, again, remember, the lady who was living here at the time was not injured. We're always glad to hear that. I did talk to one of her neighbors, though, who was just glad to make it out of that batch of storms without any damage to her home.
It was real crazy. It was scary to think it was that close.
Mary Kennedy says she's lived in Nettleton for 75 years. She wasn't aware of the coming severe weather when I first started talking with her, but she told me she's got her plan in place.
I'll get in a closet if it's bad enough, and if not, I just stay in the house.
New this morning, a Pontotoc County woman is facing several charges from several different law enforcement agencies after a crime spree on March 15th. The Pontotoc County Sheriff's Department says this woman, Tracy Dyer, is facing charges for a couple of disturbances at Randolph Express and Dollar General. Pontotoc County deputies also charged her with aggravated assault for an incident that happened on Highway 9 South. The Mississippi Highway Patrol charged her with driving under the influence, careless driving, and seatbelt law. A judge set Dyer's bond at $10,000 for the felony charges and $750 for the misdemeanor charges. New this morning, an investigation is happening after Jackson police say they found a 4-year-old dead, and you won't believe he was arrested. Plus, new this morning, we've heard about a lot of train derailments lately, but now, what company is doing what it can to help first responders know what to do when railroad incidents happen? And we have that severe weather risk as we are heading into your evening and overnight. In between calls, Norfolk Southern says they have 12 stops this year around the region. So far, they've had more than 120 first responders train in Asheville. The training is a 3-day course with 6 classes, and all first responders units are welcome, free of charge. The session in Asheville wrapped up Thursday. They are headed to Cincinnati, Ohio next. Happening now, he was first reported missing out of Oxford. Then, investigators found him dead in a neighboring county. Now they're trying to find out who's responsible for his death. Plus, new this morning, Mississippi's governor is working towards improving the state's water infrastructure. And this morning, you have to hear what bill he recently signed to make sure that happens.
And as we're heading outside right now in West Point, seeing still fairly dark conditions, but we have seen some more clouds move through for the overnight. And once again, we have that severe weather potential this evening. I'll give you a look at Storm Tracker right after the break.
Who killed her son, Keyshawn Jones. Police say the incident happened around 11 o'clock Wednesday night. New this morning, Hattiesburg police say they charged a man in an ongoing sexual assault investigation. They arrested Freddie Steele Jr. for 1 count of sexual battery. Police say this is in connection to an incident that happened on February 26th on West Park Drive. Steele Jr. now sits in the Forest County Jail. A former Mississippi coroner is now facing several charges, including embezzlement. State Auditor Shad White announced the former Hancock County coroner, James Falk, is facing 3 counts of false representations to defraud the government and 1 count of alteration of records. White's office says that Falk received a demand letter of about $22,000. He's accused of submitting and changing fraudulent invoices to the county's Board of Supervisors between February and March of 2021. He got about $13,000 as a result. His coroner's certification was suspended in March of that year. Falk resigned in July of 2021, citing a cancer diagnosis. New this morning, a Tupelo man faces charges after police say they caught him with a firearm when he was not supposed to have one. Police made a traffic stop on Ida Street for careless driving on March 18th. Police say the driver had drugs and a firearm. They arrested this man, Eric Trimble, and charged him with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. A judge set his bond at $7,500. At 5:20 this morning, we continue to follow a developing story out of Yalobusha County. Right now, deputies are trying to find out who is responsible for killing an Oxford man recently. Someone found the body off County Road 214 near the Water Valley Municipal Airport. Yalobusha County Coroner Ronnie Stark identified him as Curtis Vaughn. He was reported missing Tuesday after someone last saw him Monday night. Coroner Stark says the body showed signs of trauma leading to this homicide investigation.
It's unfortunate for the families, and it's sad that this world has came to this, if this type of thing happens.
This is the second missing person whose body was discovered in the county this year, but the Yalobusha County Sheriff says these 2 cases are not connected. Looking ahead, a former Amory High School teacher accused of sex crimes against children will soon head to court. He now has a federal public defender to represent him. The order was handed down Thursday by U.S. District Court Judge Deborah Brown over in Greenville for Tashimi Wilson, who you see on your screen. Law enforcement arrested him for giving male students cash and drugs and later recording them performing sex acts. A federal grand jury indicted him last summer on 10 counts of sexual exploitation. Wilson is expected to go to court in May. If you don't pay your child support like you're supposed to, you better start, because the state will soon get tougher on people who don't. This morning, you have to hear what bill will soon become law.
Who says you can't go for gold without going broke?
Mississippi, it will go to the Mississippi Municipality and County Water Infrastructure Grant Program. This funding follows the $450 million invested into the grant program last year. The additional funds will ensure that the needs of each grant application from across the state can be met. Mississippi Attorney General Lynn Finch is voicing her support for a bill that will ensure parents are paying their child support. Senate Bill 2634 adds fines and possible jail time for those who neglect or refuse to pay any court-ordered child support up to the child turning 21 years old. There are some exceptions, but Attorney General Fitch says it adds to the enforcement possibilities against those who choose not to pay. The bill was signed by the governor and will take effect in July. The legislative session will end without reviving the initiative process in Mississippi. A key senator killed a plan to bring it back. This one would have allowed people to petition on a wide range of issues, but not on abortion. The Senate proposed about 240,000 signatures to put a proposal on the ballot, and the House proposed about 106,000. Senator John Polk of Hattiesburg says he was unwilling to go close to the House number. A bill that would create minimum sentences for possession of fentanyl in the state of Alabama is now moving on to the House floor. If passed, 1 gram of fentanyl would mean a minimum sentence of 3 years. Possession of up to 8 grams of fentanyl would mean a life sentence. 1 gram is about the same weight as a paperclip. The bill has passed and committee is headed to the House floor where it's expected to pass. Looking ahead, the next time you visit Eupora, you could end up paying more in taxes. You have to hear what new tax city leaders are hoping to pass. And happening today, it's back to several law enforcement agencies, including aggravated assault. Deputies say she went on a crime spree. And a Jackson mother faces charges after police say she shot and killed her 4-year-old son. Storm cleanup continues over in Nettleton after the destructive winds that left behind damage. Now the city's mayor is urging you to be weather aware as even more severe weather comes our way.
Live, local, late-breaking. This is WTVA.
At 5:31, showing you a live look into below this morning. Chelsea out the door this morning. It is a pleasant start for folks as they start to wake up with us, but
now, if you shelter at home, this is what you need to know, what to put into your severe weather kit. Now, the first thing is a portable radio. Yes, a portable radio, just in case your power goes out. You're also going to want to have flashlights, batteries, first aid kit. Get extra batteries, add more to that first aid kit, and put another flashlight inside. You want to be prepared as much as you can. Now, also, when you go to your shelter, make sure that you have on hard-soled shoes on. So if you have to do some walking, you don't step on debris or you don't hurt your feet. Now, you're also going to need bottled water and snacks in your shelter just in case you get hungry. You know, you can pull it out your severe weather kit, and munch on those. Live in Webster County, Avery Hilliard, WTVA 9 News.
New this morning, the threat of severe weather forced organizers to postpone the Blood and Burgers event that was scheduled for tonight in downtown Tupelo. Organizers say they postponed the Blood and Burgers until April 28th. It will start at 6 o'clock that night on Broadway Street between Main and Troy Streets. There will be a $10 admission. You can sample the food and then vote on your favorite. One local city has a plan so it can start working on fixing up streets. WTVA's Chris Knowles visited Eupora for this report.
Main thing that people would say was, we got to fix our roads. We got to fix our roads.
Mayor Blake McMullen says fixing roads in Eupora is a top priority. A recent city council meeting gave aid to the issue by approving thousands of dollars for street improvements.
So we got $700,000. We got $400,000 last year. We got $300,000 this year. And we still are short about $500,000 from the roads that we went around and marked as our main priority roads.
I asked Mayor McMullen, how did the city determine which roads were priority?
Well, we're focusing on population and people that have a lot of houses on those roads that will be used. So we want to do high traffic areas, and we want to do main usage roads that people travel every day.
This is South Dunn Street. It runs through a residential community. If you look, you can see that it's been patched up over the years, but this road will soon be repaid. Not only that road, but this is North Allen Street, another street that will soon be repaid, one due to its close proximity to the high school. Mayor McMullen says despite the recent fundings, they still aren't enough to reach his goal. He says part of it's due to the surging inflation costs.
So you would think your money would go a whole lot further than it would, but with the inflation cost and the sewage lines being under our roads and stuff, we have to do engineering reports. And so that takes a little bit of the money. So we can't do as many roads as we would like.
The mayor tells me that an extra $500,000 would help them reach their goal.
So the cost estimate that we got was $1.2 million, and that would get us an additional 3 roads. And so we've sent that request of $500,000 to the legislators in this session, and we'll hear about that in a couple of weeks.
Happening now, Eupora city leaders are also looking at adding a new tourism and economic development tax. This tax increase will affect hotels, motels, Airbnbs, and restaurants. The resolution declares the intention of the city council to call for the draft of a bill by Representative Joey Hood with the support of Senator Bart Williams for a special election. If this proposal passes through the legislature, the mayor says a vote would happen around July 18th to determine if this would go into effect. We are entering the first weekend of spring, and if you have some plans to hit the road, you might have to fill up your tank along the way. This morning, we have an update on gas prices. The average price of gas here in Mississippi stayed about the same over the last week. It's still at $2.99. Nationally, the average price of gas is $3.44. And as they prep for the big game, they enjoy the sights in Seattle. We're going to the Needle! Players took in the sights such as the Space Needle and Pike Place Market recently. What you see here from the team on Twitter came earlier in the week. Ole Miss and Louisville will face off tonight at 9. A win there and a second win on Sunday will send the Rebels to the Final Four in Dallas next week.
And as you're heading out in Starkville right now, we are going to continue to see a few cars.
But your night will look a lot different.
Yeah, we're seeing those severe storms that are rolling in. As that sunsets going into the evening, overnight. Back here Saturday morning, we're going to be back to normal, pretty calm. But for this morning, we're also seeing fairly calm conditions. Not a lot to track out right now in Storm Type Doppler. We are seeing some more clouds that have moved in from the overnight. But as we're looking back out towards the west, all the way up to Texas, those are those storms that are going to move in later tonight, going into the overnight.
Political collections, which also houses the archives for former U.S. Senator John Stennis and U.S. Representative Sonny Montgomery. New this morning, Faith Haven Incorporated received a big donation from Cadence Bank to help provide safe shelter environments for neglected, abandoned, and abused kids. Cadence Bank paid $200,000 to the organization. It helps kids from 0 to 18 years old who are with Child Protective Services. Faith Haven will use the donation to provide temporary housing, food, and clothing, as well as 24-hour around-the-clock care to support kids. Looking ahead to the weekend, a big reminder, you can help keep Tupelo beautiful, clean up the city. Around 700 volunteers are expected on Saturday morning to help with the Time for Tupelo spring cleaning event. Volunteers will meet in Fair Park and head out to different areas to help with various beautification projects. They'll start at 9:30 in the morning and finish around 11:30. Meanwhile, Oklahoma is also having a cleaning event this weekend. The city will host a cleanup day tomorrow morning as well. Theirs will start at 9 o'clock in the morning and continue in the morning at the Oklahoma Mini Park. Organizers will serve refreshments.
Food Giant in North Mississippi is serving you better every day.
At a price you can afford. Select Quote. We shop, you save.
Helping you plan your day. WGBA 9 News Good.
Veterans East Tennessee see, died without any family to claim them. Vinay Simolo shows us how the community stepped up to make sure they were properly remembered.
You can keep that lie. This is not a republic. But okay, tell them that.
Biggerstaff Jr., Aviation Boatswain's Mate 3rd Class, Charles Robert McMeans, Private Joseph Norman McGoldrick, Private Frederick Joseph Chase, Private Paul Dean Alexander.
6 names of people who've served buried with full military honors.
Multitasker supporting 6 key indicators of brain health. To help
Washington. Jared Hill shows us that investigation centered around the handling of classified documents.
The Office of Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg says former President Donald Trump created a false expectation of his arrest in connection with its investigation into a hush money payment made in 2016 to adult film star Stormy Daniels. The comment came in a letter sent to the Republican chairs of 3 House committees after they accused Bragg, a Democrat, of abusing his authority. The letter said the accusations came after Trump created a false expectation that he would soon be arrested, and his lawyers reportedly urged Republican allies to intervene.
When Republicans come out and say that DA shouldn't do X, Y, or Z, you're doing this with no basis, no evidence.
The back and forth between New York prosecutors and congressional Republicans comes as the wait continues here at the courthouse for a decision of the grand jury hearing evidence in the case. Trump, who's running again for president, denies any wrongdoing.
Just a continuation of the most disgusting witch hunt in the history of our country.
In one social media post Thursday, the former president wrote, "Everybody knows I'm 100% innocent, including Brett doesn't care." In a second post, he says, "This is no legal system. This is the Gestapo. This is Russia and China, but worse." There's also been a development in the separate investigation into the former president's handling of documents marked classified. A federal appeals court has ordered Trump lawyer Evan Corcoran to testify about his communications with Trump concerning the handling of classified materials. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
And developing in Aberdeen politics, candidates for alderman in Ward 5 have 3 weeks to file. Alderman John Allen resigned last month for health reasons. The board-approved special election will fill his seat. In order to run, candidates must have lived in Ward 5 for at least. The deadline to run is April 12th. The election is May 2nd. The town of Bruce has a new mayor. Jimmy Hubbard is the winner of a special election. He replaces Rudy Pope, who died this year. He'll finish the rest of Pope's term, which ends in 2025. Hubbard has spent 6.5 years on the board. The town will hold another special election to fill his vacant alderman seat. A measure to give back the ability to voters to add an issue on the ballot died in the Mississippi Senate. Courtney Ann Jackson explains how it all played out.
When the Supreme Court threw this out a couple of years ago, they weren't saying no more ballot initiative. The legislature, you must repair the ballot initiative process because there is a constitutional requirement for it to exist.
But for the second year in a row, it won't.
The support for the ballot initiative as it was sent back was not there. It's kind of my feeling that we were just so far apart on the number of signatures.
Senator John Polk says that was a sticking point.
I am firmly convinced that we need a large number of signatures for the people's will to be known what it is.
An amendment on the House floor had put the threshold back to where it originally was. Another issue for Polk, the House removed a restriction that would keep referendums from changing Mississippi's position as a right-to-work state.
It's disturbing to me.
But House leaders were surprised because they thought they'd indicated they were willing to negotiate specifics.
Now, with it not even going to conference and just in calendar, it's disappointing. We were hoping to see that move. People have demanded it and asked for it. And I think on the campaign trail, this summer and fall, you're going to hear people, constituents, voters talking about it.
The ballot initiative is an important process that keeps the legislature in check. They're proving the point and proving the need for a ballot initiative process right before our very eyes.
I don't know of any other more way for it to be revived this session.
Thursday, and for the bill to be kept alive. Courtney Ann Jackson, WCBI News.
Oh, God.
Thanks, y'all. 5:06 this morning. Should be considered a board game?
I would consider it one.
I think so.
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
it's in that same section you buy it in the store, you know.
It's a game that includes props, you know. It's got sort of a board that goes with
put
it.
the ships on a board, gridded board. Let's go with that.
All right.
It's a board game.
It's a good game. It's over on our Facebook page. We clearly need some more.
Shine this afternoon, easily into the 80s. 84 yesterday. I see no reason we should get back to that mark again today. And it's going to be before any storms arrive. Big picture, a stationary front to the north and a developing cold.
ABC WTVA, Tupelo, Columbus.
Right now in America this morning, breaking news, the U.S. launching airstrikes in Syria after a deadly attack on a U.S. base. What the Pentagon is now saying.
TikTok's future in jeopardy. The CEO of the Chinese-owned app is grilled by lawmakers about national security concerns. Could it be banned in the U.S.? Plus, the one state that just passed a law restricting social media time for kids.
The man accused of stealing sunglasses is later shot in police in Virginia. The new video and the looming questions.
Later, an easier way to cancel subscriptions online. The new regulation under consideration.
March Madness thriller. The teams moving on to the Elite Eight and a preview of tonight's big game.
And a whole new way to see the world. We take you aboard the long cruise. What surprised us most about the people booking?
From ABC News in New York, this is America This Morning.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Rhiannon Alley.
And I'm Rick Klein in for Andrew this morning. We begin with breaking news. The U.S. military launching airstrikes in Syria where American forces continue to battle ISIS fighters.
The airstrikes followed a deadly drone attack on a U.S. base in Syria. Officials say a U.S. was killed and at least 6 people were injured. The Pentagon says the U.S. airstrikes targeted facilities in eastern Syria used by groups affiliated with Iran's Revolutionary Guard.
Overnight, a U.S. commander said we are postured for scalable options in the face of any additional Iranian attacks. Our troops remain in Syria to ensure the enduring defeat of ISIS. We will bring you more details from Syria as we get them.
Now to the CEO of TikTok, grilled on Capitol Hill. Many lawmakers say the company poses a national security risk because it's owned by a Chinese company. The Biden administration has threatened to ban the app. And after yesterday's contentious hearing, that could be more likely. ABC's Justin Finch is here now to explain. Justin, good morning.
Rhiannon, good morning. And right now, millions of TikTok users are awaiting an answer as to if the app could one day be wiped from their devices. This morning, Congress seems more determined than ever to ban TikTok, the Chinese-owned social media platform with 150 million users in the U.S.
It was quite clear from his answers that, in my opinion, that the Chinese Communist Party does have a lot of influence over them, or could.
TikTok CEO faced 5 hours of questioning from Democrats and kids.
Quite frankly, I don't trust anything that was being said in there about
who has access to the data.
Lawmakers demanding to know whether the platform can protect Americans' data or whether that data could end up in the hands of the Chinese government.
The Chinese Communist Party is able to use this as a tool to manipulate America as a whole. Your platform should be banned.
CEO Xiao Chu insisted the platform has taken steps to protect data, including a so-called firewall.
There are more than 150 million Americans who love our platform, and we know we have a responsibility to protect them.
He says the plan is to store Americans' data on U.S. soil. But Chu says that firewall won't be in place until later this year.
I have seen no evidence that the Chinese government has access to that data. They have never asked us. We have not provided.
But you know what?
I've
I
asked
find
that
I find that actually preposterous.
It's unclear if yesterday's hearing will get into any action. The Biden administration has already said it wants TikTok's Chinese parent company to sell its U.S. operations or face a possible ban. Beijing says it opposes such a sale. A TikTok spokesperson says Xiao came prepared to answer questions from Congress, but unfortunately, the day was dominated by political grandstanding. In the meantime, one state is taking new action to curb teens' media use. The governor of Utah now signed a bill requiring parental permission for children to use social media. It also prohibits kids under 18 from using social media between 10:30 p.m. and 6:30 a.m. It's unclear if the state will enforce rules. And back here in Washington, bipartisan support for a Senate bill that would call for the regulation banning a foreign-made technology like TikTok, though there is no timeline as to when a decision might be made. Rhiannon?
Justin, thank you for that.
Breaking overnight, North Korea is claiming it tested a nuclear-capable underwater attack drone. Kim Jong-un's government claims the drone could generate a radioactive tsunami. The North also tested several missiles this week, with Kim looking on. North Korea is blaming South Korean military drills for raising tensions. In France, a record crowd turned out to protest the government's move to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64. Rioters set fire to the city hall in Bordeaux, and in Paris, protesters clashed with police. Unions are calling for more protests and strikes ahead of King Charles's visit to France on Sunday.
Back in this country, new questions about the police shooting of a shoplifting suspect in Virginia accused of stealing sunglasses. The body camera video has now been released, showing the police pursuit.
This morning, prosecutors are investigating 2 officers with the Fairfax County Police in Virginia after an alleged shoplifting incident turned deadly. Surveillance cameras show 37-year-old Timothy Johnson at a Nordstrom store last month. Police say he was stealing sunglasses.
You set off sensors, right? Yeah.
Within minutes, store alarms go off and there's a pursuit.
Blackmail. Going towards grabbing.
In the closing moments of the chase, it's not clear what happened. The scene, hard to make out in the dark, but 2 officers discharged their weapons.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Johnson was shot in the chest, later dying at the hospital. His mother says he was unarmed.
It just does not make any sense at all.
One of the officers is now on administrative leave. The other, who fired the fatal shot, has been dismissed from the force.
The sudden loss of life is always tragic. Timothy Johnson's death is no different.
Fairfax County's police chief says he's now planning to develop a policy on officer conduct during foot chases. He says their research found only 18 police departments across the country have a foot pursuit policy in place.
18 that have a foot pursuit policy. So there is no shining best practice out there.
The chief did not elaborate on how he believes the officer should have responded, citing the ongoing investigation.
A major decision in the world of international sports. Track and field's governing body is now banning transgender athletes from competition. The decision bans athletes who transition from male to female and who have gone through male puberty. The organization is saying it took the step, quote, to protect the female category. It effectively blinds athletes from the 2024 Olympics. In response, transgender athlete Leah Thomas said, quote, "This rule is devastating and only to women's sports. It only serves to exclude any women who are not deemed woman enough."
New figures out this morning show more children in the U.S. are being diagnosed with autism. It comes as another state considers a way for people with autism to mark their vehicles on the road so that law enforcement has a... ABC's Andrea Fujii explains.
This morning, controversy over special decals for drivers with autism meant to help keep them safe. A bill proposed in Rhode Island would allow drivers in Spectrum to add the word autism to their license or their vehicle's license plate. The decals would be optional. The goal is to ensure a driver with autism is not deemed a threat if they're stopped by police. A nonverbal teen with autism testified in support of the bill.
The goal is to avoid misunderstandings between the officer and the driver.
But some people with autism oppose the idea. One critic saying it is literally labeling us and putting us into a box rather than uplifting us. Others support the bill's intention, but say it goes too far.
If there's a subtle way to say there's somebody who has a different communication style, there's somebody who has specific medical needs, there's somebody who is medically fragile in the car, that is important information for them to have. But how do we do it discreetly so it's not screaming out to the whole world?
New figures out this week show the number of children with autism is rising. The CDC recently studied 8-year-old country and found 1 in 36 of those children, or nearly 3%, was diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder. Experts say the increase doesn't necessarily mean autism itself is a bigger problem. They say the increase is likely due to more children gained.
As for the proposal in Rhode Island, the state would join Texas and Louisiana, which already have special license indicators for drivers with autism. Brianna.
Andrea, thank you. Time now for your Friday weather.
Good morning. A stormy start to the day north and west of Dallas, Texas. Some large hail, damaging winds possible to start your day. Now, later today, it's all about the...
You're watching ABC WTVA.
Hashtag justice reform.
That's all for now. I'm Lester Holt. Thanks for joining us.
Breaking news, an American contractor killed in Syria and 5 U.S. service members and another contractor wounded in a drone strike. What we know ahead.
TikTok Showdown, the CEO of the site, testifies on Capitol Hill, telling lawmakers the app is safe for American users as it faces an uncertain future in the U.S.
Border deal. President Biden is in Canada to meet with Prime Minister Trudeau on the deal they're expected to announce that would affect asylum seekers.
Taking the stand, actress Gwyneth Paltrow may testify today in her civil trial over a Utah ski accident. What we can expect.
And autism on the rise. A new study says the prevalence of autism spectrum disorder is growing in American children. What researchers are saying about the new information. It's Friday, March 24th. Early Today starts right now.
And a very good morning to you. I'm Jessica Layton.
And I'm Philip Mena.
What's the Progress Times, WTVA, and WI said my brother, the hair cutter, was the biggest drug dealer they had ever seen before in life.
More popular or more controversial? Now, the platform faced a storm of doubt from lawmakers on Capitol Hill.
Bitch, for all you drug dealers out there, you check it out for you be the judge.
On the hot seat, facing bipartisan pressure.
Your platform should be banned.
Big tech has transformed the information superhighway into a super spreader of harmful content.
The popular app held 150 million U.S. users. Lawmakers raised concerns about the Chinese government's influence on and access to their data. Xu says safety measures are already in place.
American data stored on American soil by a company overseen by American personnel.
Lawmakers say those efforts are not enough.
Well, know that you cannot protect the data and security of this committee or 50 million users of your app because it is an extension of the CCP.
Committee members repeatedly challenged Xu on safety and surveillance tactics.
Commitment to this committee and all users that we will keep this free from any manipulation by anybody.
You can't say 100% certain. I think that is a no.
The heated hearing comes amid a bipartisan push to crack down on foreign-based platforms. Senator Mark Warner tells me privacy concerns extend beyond TikTok.
We need to be ready not only for TikTok, but when we see foreign-based technology from countries like China and Russia, we've got to have tools in the toolkit.
Content creators say banning the app puts their livelihoods at risk.
TikTok has been essential in helping me build my business over the past few years.
Our app is a place where people can be creative and curious.
Xu and lawmakers agree user safety is a top priority, but they're divided on how to do that. Rejack NBC.
President Biden is in Canada today, making his first official visit to America since taking office. Biden will address Canadian Parliament this afternoon before holding a press conference alongside Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. The two elected to announce a new deal concerning immigration at the Canada border. Two U.S. officials confirmed to NBC News that the agreement will allow the two countries to turn away asylum seekers who cross the northern border without authorization. This deal comes as migrant crossings at the northern border have risen to historically high levels. According to Customs and Border Protection data, that includes the apprehension of about 2,000 migrants at one section of the border during a recent 5-month period, a major year-over-year increase.
The New York grand jury that will decide whether to vote to indict former President Trump over an alleged hush money payment will not be returning to work until Monday. Now, as expected, the group met Thursday, but for a different case. The Office of Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg also issued a scathing response to House Republicans who requested he testify on his own investigation into the former president. The office called the request an unprecedented inquiry and that the committee chairs overstepped with their ask. Meanwhile, Trump attorney Evan Corcoran is expected to testify before a different grand jury as soon as today. This one investigating Mr. Trump's handling of classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. And this after a D.C. judge approved what is known as the crime fraud exception, which allows prosecutors to bypass attorney-client privilege. Mr. Trump has denied wrongdoing in both cases.
New body cam video has been released in the police shooting of an unarmed man in Virginia last month. Timothy Johnson, who is black, was accused of stealing a pair of sunglasses. An attorney for his family is now calling this a, quote, execution.
I still believe this bitch on a leash in the private market has far more value to the human world than in the hands of a crazy-ass government.
Newly released footage by police in Fairfax County, Virginia, showing the moments officers shot and killed an unarmed man outside of a mall.
Get on the ground!
The body camera worn by Sergeant Wesley Shiflett shows the moment.
But guess who proving you can't put a leash on this bitch?
Police say Johnson had triggered anti-theft alarms and was suspected of stealing a pair of sunglasses.
He set off sensors, right?
The body camera does not show what officers saw for the chase. Police releasing
tonight. Yeah, we have those chances. Everybody is under a severe weather risk. Tornadoes possible, strong damaging wind gusts possible.
Thanks, because I'm tired. Hell.
Is coming up. And new this morning, she's accused of going on a crime spree, leading to several charges from several different agencies. But local deputies say she did is coming up. And happening now, a death investigation turned into a murder investigation after a missing Oxford man was found dead in a neighboring county. This morning, we have the latest details on this investigation.
We got to fix our roads. We got to fix our roads.
One local city is wanting to improve your daily commute, and it starts with improving those roadways. Now, city leaders have a plan.
Live, local, late breaking. This is WTVA 9 News.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for starting off your Friday morning with us. This morning, we are tracking severe weather that's headed our way tonight. All of our viewing area under a severe weather risk. WTVA's Avery Hilliard is live in Eupora this morning, one of the areas that's under a nearly level 4 risk. But we will hear more from her in just a moment. But first, Chelsea, as you've been tracking this, it seems like we're starting off with a pleasant morning. So now is the time to become weather prepared.
Yeah, and as you're heading out right now, we're going to continue to track fairly calm conditions. So you still have that time to put your severe weather preparedness plan in place or make that kit to kind of keep that in your safe place. But if you are heading out right now, we're seeing those upgrades with that severe weather risk, places up towards Memphis, Tippett County, Houston, down towards Eupora, now included in that level 4 that was expanded northward and also a little bit more east. For Oxford, we're not seeing much to slow you down. We're starting off the time that sun is setting.
Thank you, Chelsea. So as severe weather approaches our area tonight, you do need to, in case it hits where you live. WTVA's Avery Hilliard joins us live from Webster County this morning, where parts of the area are expected to have a level 4 severe weather risk. Avery, how should folks prepare for this storm?
Yeah, good morning, Daniela. Behind me is East Webster High School, and it is all.
That nigga was broke with his hand out asking for somebody to give him $1 and didn't want to do a damn thing but stand there and run his mouth when he was little. And he was the same damn way when they took him to jail, talking about he was the biggest damn drug dealer in the whole damn they'd ever seen before. Just a broke nigga with his hand out. Ain't had a damn clue what he was gonna do except unless somebody told him to do it. But he big old drug dealer, y'all. That's what they said. That's what they said. I wouldn't have woke up with sleep with him. I saw that bitch neck his life. But here come a girl up there at the court, and her friend said, "No, he the biggest drug dealer." Whoever said. I guess Gilead didn't exist. Gilead didn't exist back then. Ain't that what they call Gilead? Ain't that what they do? Aren't they drug dealers? Got a whole force out to hospitals and make cut deals. Y'all didn't see that? Oh, they had suits on, drove nice cars and stuff. You missed all that. I guess it was killing everybody. You right. Yeah, pharmaceuticals. He's looking up Jeff, little Jeff. He was off here locking up little Jeff and Big Girl. And Gilead and Johnson & Johnson. They run around killing everybody.
Storm shelter. Now,
That's terrible. That's not terrible. That's worse than terrible. That's when you call whoosh or somebody.
when it happens where you live.
Somebody just hit me with a bomb. I believe that was my friend, Mom. Dear God, whole bodies are falling out the sky. Can you please do something about it? Pray that prayer. Dear God, dear holy blessed God, I woke up this morning, there was a body laying on in the front yard, and tried to drive my car down the street, and there was a body laying there, and got to the grocery store, and there was a body laying across the grocery cart, and I didn't have much to do with all these bodies, but dear God, can you do something about all these dead bodies? You'll pray that prayer. Go ahead, pray with me now. Dear God, can you do something about all these dead bodies? There's dead bodies everywhere. Brother Bleach is having a hard time. Brother Beach having to dig all the grave by himself while Udi get all the money. Brother Bleach and his wife over there sick and that's ride around and find a nice car. Brother Bleach wife got cancer and need to smoke some weed and that's get high as hell every goddamn day. Well, dear God, it's dead bodies flying everywhere. Dear God, it's dead bodies here, it's dead bodies there. Oh, dear God. Dear God, dear God, dear God. With me.
Night on Broadway Street between Main and Troy Streets. There will be a $10 admission. You can sample the food and then vote on your favorite. One local city has a plan, so it.
Brother Mayor gonna take over devotion. Brother Mayor Macmillan, Brother Black down at the brother's office down at the Jitney he the mayor. Take over, bro.
Start working on fixing up streets. WTVA's Chris Knowles visited Eupora for this report.
Thing that people would say was, we got to fix our roads. We got to fix our roads.
Mayor McMullen says fixing roads in Eupora is a top priority. A recent city council meeting gave aid to the issue by approving thousands of dollars for street improvements.
So we got $700,000. We got $400,000 last year. We got $300,000 this year, and we still are.
How did the city determine which roads were priority?
Well, we're focusing on population and people that have a lot of houses on those roads that will be used. So we want to do high trafficked areas, and we want to do main usage roads that people travel every day.
This is South Dunn Street. It runs through a residential community. You can see that it's been patched up over the years, but this road will soon be road. But this is North Allen Street, another street that will soon be repaved, one due to its close proximity to the high school. Mayor McMullen says despite the recent fundings, they still up to reach his goal. He says part of this due to the surging inflation costs.
So you would think your money would go a whole lot further than it would, but with the inflation cost and the sewage lines being under our roads and stuff, we have to do engineering reports. And so that takes a little bit of the money. So we can't do as many roads as we would like.
The mayor tells me that an extra $500,000 would hit their goal.
So the cost estimate that we got was $1.2 million, and that would get us an additional 3 roads. And so we've sent that request of $500,000 to the legislators in this session, and we'll hear about that in a couple of weeks.
Happening now, Eupora city leaders are also looking at.
Well, praise white God, Brother Mayor. Praise white God.